MGunter, the Officer of Minority Affairs, the Director of the Office of Minority Affairs at Tennessee State University, and this is a continuation of our discussion of Brown versus the Board of Education and diversity in public education, public higher education. And of course, Mr. Gunter, let me welcome you to this particular segment of the show. And to tell you, Mr. Gunter, how delighted we are to have you here, because I think that your appearance will give us an opportunity to sort of round up the first two segments that we had dealing with diversity in public education, in higher public education. Let's see if we can have you to give us a little information about your background, your education, and then we'll talk about the Office of Minority Affairs at Tennessee State University.
I received my undergraduate degree in communications from Austin Peay State University and stayed there and received my master's as well. I first came to Tennessee State University as a consultant for a Trainer of the Trainers program to coordinate their culminating conference and to put together a directory. The Trainer of the Trainers program was geared toward making African Americans leaders, better leaders in their community. From there, I went to direct, still at Tennessee State University, a grant through the USDA that was geared toward reducing the rapid decline of minority land loss among farmers. We dealt with a lot of minority farmers, primarily in West Tennessee, and I stayed there for 6 years, and then in 2000 came to Student Affairs, and have been the Director for Minority Student Affairs since 2000.
Now, Mr. Gunter, the Office of Minority Affairs at Tennessee State University has to be a very, very relatively new office, just by the very name, and being such an office on the campus of an historical black institution. Let's talk about that. I mean, how did that kind of office come into being?
It all came about under the merger that you were discussing earlier, actually, when UT Nashville and Tennessee State merged in the late 1970s. And it was brought about to help ensure that more minority students, in this case Caucasian students, were attending TSU, and that they had a successful experience there.
And this would be a sort of an office that would deal with that?
Right, to deal with any issues or problems that may arise for minority students, to act basically as a liaison between the university departments and the minority students.
Now, how does this fit into Brown versus the Board of Education, from what we've already said about Brown versus the Board of Education? What is the purpose of this office, and how does that fit into that?
We, at Tennessee State University, we want to create a very diverse student body. We have one of the most diverse faculties of any college probably in the United States, and we are really trying to keep a diverse student body as well. One of the things that I work with is retention programs, for example, to make sure that not only we receive, minority students want to come to the university, but they want to stay. I have various organizations that I serve as the advisor for or work with, but all the organizations that I work with are not strictly for minority students. They are diversity organizations, and the primary focus is to have multicultural membership bases in those. So my goal is to have the minority students at TSU to become integrated in university life and in campus activities, to feel as they are a part of the university as any other student.
You mentioned, and I think we talked about the Office of Minority Affairs, but you point out that you're not only concerned with minority affairs, but there are also other areas in diversity that you're concerned with, age and et cetera, et cetera. Let's talk about it from that perspective. How does that help to create diversity? Talk about it.
Well, one thing that came out as a result of the consent decree is our Geyer Non-Traditional Student Scholarship. It's geared toward returning students, or students who have been out of school for at least 2 years that are returning to school, and to get more non-traditional. Tennessee State, as you're well aware of, has a broad base of non-traditional students, but we're trying to still increase the number of non-traditional students at the university and the number of minority students. And that scholarship that was introduced last year is one means to do that.
And of course, when you mention Office of Minority Affairs on the campus of Tennessee State University, you can also say that there is an Office of Minority Affairs, essentially the same kind of office on other institutions, Austin Peay and et cetera,
Sure.
et cetera.
They go various names, multicultural affairs, but yes, just about every university has some type of office. In Tennessee, I would be the only one that minority group would be Caucasian, of course, which presents a unique situation, just by the mere fact that you know, white students coming to TSU, it's the first time in their life, for most of them, they've been a minority. So it's a new experience, but it's also an experience that they can carry with them throughout the rest of their life. So.
Now, having had contact with a large number of students who might fall into that category, what do you find to be their general reaction in terms of that kind of situation, coming into being, for the first time, a minority in a majority situation?
Well, I think a lot of them are prepared. They know Tennessee State University is a historically black school, and they're prepared for that. I'm not sure how you prepare yourself to be a minority for the first time. You know, most people that are minorities are born minorities. So here you are, you know, 18 years old, and for the first time in your life, you know, I am a minority. But it kind of gives them an appreciation for the issues that face minorities in general. So I think most of them come in geared to handle that. And when they find out that our university is really accepting of all students, and that we have, I mean, our campus is a beautiful campus. That's one thing I think is an advantage for me when I work with recruiting minority students is, you know, sometimes through negative press, a lot of students out in the Nashville and surrounding area have not heard the positive things that TSU has to offer. And then when they come to our campus, they're blown away by the beautiful campus, how well it's maintained, about how friendly people are and how they're treated. So my job's relatively easy when they come out to TSU for the first time.
You know, when you talk about minority, let's look at diversity. I think you also indicated that Tennessee State University not only is involved with an Office of Minority Affairs, but it's concerned about diversity. You talk about age and etc. Let's look at it from that perspective. What is your office doing in terms of helping to enhance or further create diversity among students? Those individuals, for example, who might be physically challenged or whatever.
Well, we also, for the ones that have physical disabilities, we have a disabled student services that represent them and deal with those issues. Like I said, some of the organizations that I work with, Campus Kaleidoscope is one of them, retaining the students. You know, the way that we create and keep a diverse environment at TSU is to retain the minority students that are there so they don't come there for 1 year and leave. So as far as diversity and maintaining diversity is offering them programs that get them into the mainstream of the university and to also bring in the majority students, the African-American students, into these same organizations to where they're brought together. You know, I think a lot of times there are a lot of misperceptions. A lot of the African-American students think that the only white students that come to TSU are on, say, minority scholarship. They come there for scholarships. Well,
speak to that. Is that
yeah, that is the furthest from the truth. You know, for the first time, the overall student population at TSU was over 9,000 this year. Undergraduate, it's 7,100, I'm sorry, there's 1,157 minority students in undergraduate, that are undergraduates. 157 are on minority scholarship. You know, that's 14%. A lot of people also say, well, you know, the first-time freshmen that come in, they're all on minority scholarship, and that's not true either. First-time freshmen in fall 2003, we had 92 Caucasian students come in, 27 received minority scholarship. So students, if you talk with them on campus, when you're on campus, a lot of them come there because of the programs that are offered. I mean, we have one of the best engineering programs in the country. We have one of the best nursing programs. A lot of students make their choice, minority students make their choice to come to TSU because of their area of study, their interest, and also because of the location. I mean, Tennessee State University is not only an HBCU, it's the only state school in Nashville. So, you know, it's the location that entices a lot of the students to
come see,
there.
I think, Ms. Gunter, that's what we're concerned about, that a lot of folks have a lot of misinformation, misimpressions, and et cetera. But of course, they can't get a different impression unless a person who has the real knowledge and the information, like yourself, will come to us and talk about it, you see. And so I think that's why we want you to give us that kind of information.
Exactly.
Or any other kind of information you think that might enhance what we were talking about within that.
Well, thank you. You know, that misperception is not only out in the surrounding community, but sometimes at the university itself. You know, that we have a lot of students there on minority scholarship, or they come there for one reason, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. A lot of the students come there and they want to be involved with the university and student activities, and receive their degree. And you know, TSU is one of the best schools in the country.
I know I can simply echo that, because I know in all of my classes I've had minority students, not only Caucasian students, but Asian students, Hispanic students, and et cetera, and et cetera. And I find that their aspirations and their goals are essentially the same aspirations and the goals, and many of them are students who are there to get a degree. You know, you'd be surprised at the number of students who will tell you that I'm graduating next fall, which is to say that they've been around there 3 or 4 years, and et cetera.
And you know, the thing that I like to see the most is also that we are attracting quality students, quality minority students. You know, for example, the students that received the minority scholarship last semester, the average ACT score was over 22. The average GPA of those students coming out of high school is nearly a 3.5. You know, these are high quality students, and they're very, very smart students, and they're more, you know, likely to stay and to finish the degree. So yeah, there's nothing that's more fulfilling for me than to see a student come in, really become part of the university, stay at the university through graduation.
And then be able to go out and be successful. And become a very, very important alumnus of Tennessee State University. And we do have a number of individuals who are minority within that context out in the general national population doing very, very well, having graduated from Tennessee State University.
We sure do.
And I'm sure you could attest to that, because you probably got a list of individuals.
You know, we do. We have a lot of students that end up graduating in various degrees. A lot of students stay and go to graduate school at TSU that receive their undergraduate degrees there. So yes, I mean, from doctors to you know, engineers, we have a lot of students that are making a lot of difference in society.
And so over the last 20 seconds, would you say that Brown versus the Board of Education is bringing about some kind of diversity in public higher education?
Sure, I think that is to be very true. And I think when I look at TSU, you know, I'm excited about that.
Very good. And of course, Mr. Gunter, let me thank you, and let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.